Good day and welcome back to another DBZ Dokkam Battle video. In this video we are going to cover the new Extreme Z Battle Giant Ape Edition that was recently added as a global first on DBZ Dokkam Battle Global. So there are 3 units that can be awakened from this Extreme Z Battle. The Extreme Z Battle is weak to Super Strength and Extreme Strength, Super Tech and Extreme Tech, and Super AGL and Extreme AGL depending on which unit you are fighting. And the Giant Ape category units are effective. You will be fighting Physical Goku between stages 1 and 10, Strength Radditz between stages 11 and 20, and AGL Vegeta between stages 21 and 30. As you complete the event, you will receive a whole bunch of Grand Kais, 5 of each type, Physical, AGL, and Strength, and you will also receive some associated Hidden Potential Orbs. Goku will be awakening. He and Vegeta and Radditz all have a base attack and defense of 80%, and they all gain a bunch of numerous buffs depending on their passive. Goku gains an additional attack and defense of 80% when firing a super attack. He also raises attack and defense on his super attack, and they all have the chance to turn into great apes. So it's a pretty impressive EZA. Obviously really helps out the Giant Ape power category, but more importantly it helps out the Giant form category, which has been lacking for a very long time. The Extreme Z battle here is pretty straightforward. You will be receiving, instead of the usual medals, you'll be receiving pretty much all 3 different types of medals all the way up. So you'll be receiving bronze for Radditz, Goku, and Vegeta from defeating Goku, and you will receive the silvers from defeating Radditz, and then you will receive the gold and the rainbow from defeating Vegeta. So a little bit different, somewhat similar to the Goku and Vegeta Rival Destiny series of EZAs. As you can see, for Battle Stage 1, there's not really anything going on. We can seal the unit, stun the unit, and all of that. In terms of category, obviously the Giant Ape Power is the go-to category here, but it is obviously requiring the SS4 Gogeta lead. Fortunately, he is on the current banner, so if you did manage to get him, great for you. Otherwise, what you're going to want to do is take a friend SS4 Gogeta, and then you can run either one of 2 alternative leads. You can either run the Gohan SBR ESBR lead, which is all types 120%. He's a super solid option if you are looking for a free-to-play lead. Then, in terms of secondary leads, another great bet who's on the Giant Ape banner is this Broly. He's on quite a lot of banners. He is a general pool SSR, so if you have him, you should be able to use him as a lead. He is a pure Saiyans type lead of 120%. In terms of free-to-play units to use, there are only really 5 of them. Obviously the Vegeta and the Bardock we are going to use. The Team Bardock units not going to be that useful. They have decent stats, but they don't really do much if they're not with Team Bardock units, as they're kind of a buff for that category. You could technically use them for their superclass buff, I guess, but it's not really that needed if I'm honest with you, and their stats aren't really worth it. The Team Bardock, the free-to-play Team Bardock, can't be used here because they are not part of the Giant Ape category, so it's a little bit unfortunate. You start off fighting Goku, and then he will change into Radditz after stage 10. Radditz will change into Vegeta after stage 20, and then you will just fight Vegeta all the way through. Because of that, it makes it somewhat easier to do team building. Obviously against Goku, you want to try and eliminate the use of int units, but fortunately because Goku is so early on, he's not as tough as the later stages against Vegeta and Radditz. So using your units like int GT Vegeta or using int Gogeta SS4 aren't actually that hindered by fighting him. So realistically, it's actually quite an easy EZA, which I think is fine. You know, for these kind of units, you don't want a mega tough EZA. It's just good to have a nice batch of 3 units getting EZA'd at the same time. We'll skip ahead to stage 10 here. Obviously there's been some changes. As you can see, you can no longer stun him or reduce his defense. You can still lower attack and seal if you wish, but it's not really too necessary. We're still running the SS4 Gogeta, but we have changed the team slightly. Solid options for your team. You can use the Easy Aid, Strength Goku, and AGL Vegeta if you want. or you can obviously use the LR SS4s if you have them. There's plenty of options here because the category has gotten a little bit wider and a little bit better. So there is some options in terms of team building. Obviously we have the physical Goku GT as well as the Int Vegeta GT that you see me using here. So you have a lot of options when it comes to building for the team. If you summoned on the heroes banners, you'll have units like Strength Bardock, Int SS4 Gohan, you'll have the Tech Broly as well, so you can possibly use those along with the crossover Vegeta. So there's plenty of units for you to use. Honestly, you can just kind of build the team however you wish. I ideally obviously suggest sticking units like the Strength Goku in at this point, and obviously the Strength LR Vegeta if you have them. Having a more strength orientated team will help you push through the physical Goku stages a little bit faster. But not too many issues. Goku himself is not very strong. The EZA overall is not as hard as some of the other EZAs that have come out recently. So you shouldn't have that bad a time when it comes to, you know, finishing the EZA. I don't necessarily suggest summoning on the Giant Ape banner. It's not the best thing to do, just because the units on there are cool and yes they do EZA, but unless you're really struggling to do the giant form category mission, then probably best not to do it. Now we'll switch over to stage 20. We are fighting a strength Radditz, and we have obviously noticed that he has super attack ceiling. With strength Radditz, what you want to do is you obviously want to be more AGL orientated. So what you can do is obviously just drop out any physical type units that you have and slot in some more appropriate AGL units. There are units like Great Ape Turles and Great Ape Vegeta himself who you can use in this part of the event. If you want to, while EZAing them along the way, you'll be able to obviously have them added to your team, like physical Goku, Vegeta, Radditz. You can put them all in the team to aid you in finishing the EZA faster, as long as you EZA them along the way. You keep awakening them as you go along. They should generally improve well enough that you don't have too much of an issue. But Radditz himself, not too difficult. Like I said, the EZA is definitely not as hard as other EZAs, and we're able to finish him quite swiftly. You can use the AGL SS4 Vegeta here, or you can use the LR SS4 Goku. They're both incredibly solid options when it comes to this stage. And then finally we will shift across to the stage 30. As you see there, we changed to Vegeta from stage 21. In stage 30, Vegeta is immune to sealing and stunning, and obviously you're kind of now inclined to have tech units. If you don't have the Tech SS4 Broly, your next best bet is more than likely going to be the Tech SS4 Full Power Goku. He will hit very hard, even though his defense is not entirely grand, so maybe try and focus in on that. A lot of tech units for this category, not really too great. Goku is definitely probably your best option if you don't have the SS4 Broly. I'm not going to use SS4 Broly, even though I do have him, because obviously I'm trying to build a team that you can somewhat replicate if you are a new player. It's also why I don't have the LRs in there. But if you do have the LRs, obviously use them. Just try and refrain from using strength units. Units like SS4 Strength Goku and the SS4 Strength LR Vegeta. To be honest, you could probably still use them. Vegeta doesn't really hit that hard for an EZA, but if he does super attack your strength units, you're probably going to be a little bit tighter than you want in terms of health. But we get very lucky here and we manage to get the counter. Very, very good. We also get the super attacks from Vegeta. And then obviously we have this Vegeta here. Follow everything up. He does alright. As you can see, he's taking double digits. So that kind of tells you how hard the event is. I mean, if the free-to-play Int Great Ape Vegeta is taking double digits, it's not that difficult an event. This Broly is pretty decent, obviously, as our pseudo lead, since I don't want to use my SS4 Vegeta in case you don't have him. He's pretty decent. He can do some serious damage once he builds up his attack as well. But overall, this entire event was not too hard. So go and get your 30 free stones, as well as some hopefully helpful EZAs for your box if you have the units. I myself have Goku and Radditz, So that's fortunate for me, but I'm unlucky to not have Vegeta. But it's okay. Should eventually one day get him, and I'll just have the medals for when he arrives. I had a similar thing with SS2 Goku and Majin Vegeta. I rainbowed SS2 Goku while pulling only a single copy of Vegeta. So it's just one of those things. Obviously, if you have the SS4 Easy A's, they do help, but even Goku and Vegeta in their base form are probably more than enough for this stage anyway, if I'm honest for you, so you don't need to worry about Easy A'ing those units first to take on this one. And that's going to be it. That was stage 30, so realistically quite a easy A, and 3 new brand spanking nicely upgraded units for our box. There are a couple missions overall, which we'll get into briefly, but I think you could definitely farm this edition for Zenny if you really want to. I don't always suggest farming Easy A's for money, but for those of you who are desperate for Zenny, you can more than likely farm this Easy A well enough. It is just something you could do. It's not too hard, and if you've got a strong team, you've got double S's for Gogeta, you can do it. In terms of missions, it's simply just awakening all 3 characters. You'll get 3 stones back and some Zenny and a Grand Kai for each one of them. So realistically, do it if you can. That's 9 free stones, but don't go out of your way to try and do it. It's just a nice little kickback. That's going to be it for me. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Good luck on the Easy A's. Let me know how you find them, and as always, stay safe and bye.